Last year I made a joke video where I played egg shakers, and here I am making the same style of video with the same bad jokes, except this time it's for a grade. Yeah, I have a saxophone now. That's what I'm doing with my life, and I have to make a video explaining how to play this thing. So we're gonna do that. The only thing we need for the start are these two very important pieces. This is the reed. This is the thing that moves and makes the sound. This is the mouthpiece. This holds the reed so that it can move and make sound. So step one is taking this and putting it into here. How do you do that? So the first thing I do, you gotta wet this thing. You can dip it in water. But the more common method, just put it in your mouth. It needs to be wet so that way it can better form a seal, so that I can make the music. You gotta loosen the ligature. What's the ligature? It's this. This is what keeps the mouthpiece relatively still. So you're gonna loosen it, and you're gonna raise it up. You're gonna take your reed. You're gonna place it on this flat part of the mouthpiece. When you are positioning your reed, you are going to want a hair's width length of black mouthpiece on top of the reed. You can see that best by taking your finger and licking. There should be a very thin gap there. When it comes to centering it, you want to be as centered as physically possible, both on the top and on the bottom. So once you get it centered and once you are satisfied, you're going to start to tighten down your ligature. It doesn't matter how you tighten it down. Just don't over tighten it, as you could snap it. So just get it tight enough so the mouthpiece isn't going to move, but not too tight that you're going to break the mouth. Once you get it on, you can play, and it's going to sound bad. Something like this. I am very sorry for your ears. Up next, you're going to need the neck. This is the neck. It's very beautiful, right? So, simply, you're taking this, you're putting it on here. Right? No. There's a step before that. This is cork grease. You take the cork grease and you apply it on here. Preface is you're going to take this out. It's going to look like chapstick, but it's not. Do not use this chapstick. You're going to apply it in a thin line, and you're going to rub it in. Again, I'm not doing it because I've already applied it, and if you over apply cork grease, or if you forget to rub it off at the end of your session, you will wear away at the adhesive that holds the cork to the neck, and you're going to lose the cork. Now that you've applied your cork grease, you're going to take the mouthpiece and you're going to put it on there. You're going to screw it on just like that. Now that you have it on, you're going to get it centered basically as even as possible. Now that I have this on here, I can once again make noise. It's going to sound bad. Sounds bad. I'm sorry. We are finally to the point where we get the saxophone body. Isn't it beautiful? It's so gorgeous. I love this instrument. So, to put on the neck, you're going to look to the top. You have two screws right here. This screw is for a lyre. This is not marching band. This is basic saxophone. So you're going to loosen this screw, which tightens down around the neck. So it doesn't go anywhere. When you're putting it on, you're going to hold from under and you're going to screw it on there nice and gently. This is very fragile. You don't want to break this. It's very expensive. You get it on. What's next? This thing. This is the neck strap. Yes, I know it's very basic, but it's very important. This is what's going to allow you to have a little more ease in playing this. This is surprisingly heavy. If I had to play it like this, I feel like I'd die. So, the neck strap, what you do, there's a little loop right here. This goes around this loop right here. Bam. It now hangs freely. I can support it using my body and not my hands. Now, the neck strap has a very specific position. When you bring your mouthpiece up to play, the top of the mouthpiece should be at your top teeth. If you have to go up or down for any reason, adjust the neck strap. Things to consider. The angle of the mouth, the angle of the neck should be down. Now that you've got the neck strap on, up next we're going to talk about how to hold the thing. So, left hand position. There's this little black button right here. Not actually a button. That's where your thumb goes. Look at the front here. You have this banana key. Skip it. 1. You have this little key right here. Skip it. 2, 3. Your pinky is going to rest on this little thing right here. Right hand. There's a little hook right here. That's where your thumb goes. Looking at the buttons. 1, 2, 3. Your right pinky is going to rest on these buttons. So, when you're playing saxophone, there's going to be 3 points of contact on your body. The first one is the top of the mouthpiece to your top teeth. That's 1 anchor point. The second point is your left hand, holding it properly and firmly. The third one is going to be a combination of your right hand on the bottom as well as the bottom of the saxophone right on your stomach. Up next, we're going to talk about breathing. When you breathe, you're going to do what's called a hand breath. You take the hand, you put it like this. What this does is this makes sure you are breathing properly. Because if you're breathing properly, you should hear a sound like a rushing sound. What that means is you are breathing correctly. There's 3 stages. You fill up your diaphragm, then around your torso, the top of your lungs. Think of it like pouring a cup of water. It fills from the bottom, not from the top. If you're breathing using your shoulders, you're going to have weak breaths, it's going to be uncomfortable, and your playing is not going to sound very good. Now, up next is the armature. This is the hardest part. Ish. Not really, because actually it's pretty simple. There's 4 things to consider. The first one, we've already talked about. The angle of the neck. When you bring the mouthpiece into your mouth, should be an upward angle towards your face. The second thing to think about is your corners. Your corners need to be tight so as to form a proper seal. If your corners are loose, air is going to leak. Not to mention your armature is going to be weak, so it's going to be a very weak tone. The stronger the armature, the stronger the sound. Which means it is possible to have too strong of a sound, means it sounds harsh. How do you know if it's harsh? If you are biting on the mouthpiece, it's too harsh. The third thing to consider, it's your lips and your teeth. Your top teeth are going to anchor directly on the mouthpiece. Your bottom teeth, you're actually going to curl your bottom lip over the top, so that way it can anchor on the mouthpiece, on the reed itself. The fourth thing to consider is the inside mouth position, mainly your tongue. So, I want you to think 2 vowels. Start by saying E. E, 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 E. Now, say ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. What you're going to do is you're going to go E to ooh. E, ooh. What that does is that means you will ensure that you have the inside mouth position of the E with the outer mouth position of the ooh. Go E, ooh. E, ooh. E, ooh. E, ooh. And congratulations, you have formed your armature. Now, you can play a note. E, ooh. You're probably wondering, how do I know that my armature is correct? Well, octave flicks. Jacob, what are octave flicks? I'm glad you asked. So, see this thumb key right here? This is the octave key. What does it do? It just takes what I know you're playing, puts it up an octave. So, octave flicks. You're just going to play a note, and you're going to flick. It should go up and straight back down. The best way to do this is to think about the low note. Don't even think about the upper note. Only think of the low note. Now, we've gone over everything to think about. It's time to actually play something fun. So we're going to play a scale. Now, I'm going to give this to you in saxophone fingering, and then I'm going to give it to you in saxophone key. The fingerings are pretty simple. The main thing revolves around the 6 keys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Congratulations, you did it. We're going to go from top to bottom. The top ones are a lot easier than the bottom ones. So, your first fingering is going to be C, and it's 2. Then you're going to go to B, which is 1. I should specify this is a C major scale. So you go C to B. B is 1. Up next is A, which is 1, 2. You're going to start noticing a pattern now, because up next is G, and that's 1, 2, 3. Up next, you guessed it, is F, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Up next is E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up next is D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's one more. But Jacob, I've run out of fingers. Look to that right pinky of yours. You have 2 buttons right here. The bottom one of the 2 is called your C key. Why? Because if you have all 6 fingers down, you hold it down, you're gonna get a C, the low C. So yeah, that's the saxophone.